How
Are
are you?
are you ready?
I'm ready to fight.
I'm
Put up your
gonna.
dukes,
I'm.
Justin.
No, you gotta be ready because guess what?
What?
I'm gonna take you for a ride.
Ba-dum, bum. Gonna take you for a ride. You couldn't wait. You couldn't wait. I'm like, before this episode started, I'm like, I'm totally singing that, and
Sorry, stole your
you
thunder.
got no chill. You couldn't wait.
Stole your thunder. Thought it was a
Well,
good
I'm
way
glad we didn't
to.
forget it. That's good.
How could
I'm
you
glad we
forget
didn't.
that? How could you forget that song?
Oh,
Seriously.
best music in a game ever.
Is that this episode? We're talking about that? Best music in video
Yeah,
games?
in any episode of anything.
Next
Um,
season. Um
well,
anyways.
Justin, this is the podcast where we discuss our favorite things across a variety of topics.
That's right.
What do we do here every week?
Yes, we go out, do a little we first we decide what the topic's gonna be.
No, we don't go out. We stay at home.
Yes.
Because we are trying to not spread the coronavirus, so we do all of our research from home. We're not going out anywhere.
We were doing that before it was cool. I mean, honestly, we've been doing that since the beginning.
That's right. Social distancing like pros.
But we do a little research. Sometimes better than other days, but mostly sometimes we do it mid show. But we just kind of try to figure out and explain to each other why we like something so much to figure out what our favorite of said topic. And today's topic is.
Yes, today's topic is favorite fighting game. And as Justin said, there really aren't any rules for this podcast. We just like to talk. And if you like to see the stuff that we've made before and some other cool things, you can check out our Patreon page where you can find some bonus content. You can even become a patron like Mac40K Painting or Josh Benoit and all of our other supporters. So thanks, fam. We appreciate your support.
In this month's bonus episode, because we haven't really told anyone this yet, it's actually going to be a double feature. It's going to be about the Watchmen. All of it.
Everything Watchmen.
Everything.
We're going to talk about
the good.
We're going to talk about the original comic. We're going to talk
the bad.
The good. The bad. We're going to talk about the movie.
And the great.
And the awesome. We're going to talk about the TV series, the HBO series there. So, no, that's very exciting. Yep, that is our bonus episode for the month of November. So if you become a patron, you can see all that and other bonus episodes that we've recorded in the past. So definitely something worth checking out.
And then we have another little announcement, little teaser.
Oh yeah!
Since we're talking about tournaments and fighting,
in the spirit of fighting, and
we're gonna have our own little internal battle. We'll let you know when it happens, but we're gonna do a little tournament of favorites, and you can kind of you can figure out what that is on your own.
Sure.
But we'll be doing that to celebrate the end of our second season. So we are excited about it. It's gonna be fun. So
this actually segues to a very good game that I want to mention in a little while, but it's got the word tournament in it. Anyways, I can't help it anymore. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
I never played that. Okay, I don't play that.
Justin, it's great and terrible all in one. It's just. Anyways,
no. But before we usually get started, we do surprise topics, and I was trying to think of a surprise topic that was a long, deep conversation, but I think this is just going to be a fun little one, I guess. I mean, the easiest one to ask you is, I guess, what's your favorite ultimate move or final or
finishing move,
final move, fatality, friendshipality.
What did they call it in Killer Instinct? They had a name for it that was weird. It wasn't like any other.
I don't know. I didn't play a lot.
Oh, they call it No Mercy.
No Mercy.
Or Danger Mode. Danger Mode was the other one.
Danger Mode.
When you get into Danger Mode. But yeah, so what happens when the screen goes dark and somebody in a deep voice says finish it.
Yeah.
So what my favorite fatality is? Well, classically, my first favorite one was seeing Scorpion pull out someone's
spine,
head and spine, of course. But gosh, favorite fatality.
If you want to talk about Mortal Kombat ones, though, I actually like the ones where they use the environment, though. So you'd have the one where you're on in the original Mortal Kombat, they do the uppercut, but he would go and fall onto the spikes.
In the pit.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
in
like
the pit.
it's like I love when they use environmental, I guess, specials, or if you would, or
Hmm.
the I mean, eventually fighting games became like just like animated moves, right? It's like, oh, like a little movie to watch.
Yep, yep.
Um,
I can take a break. I can take my fingers off of the gamepad for a moment. I can just watch.
yep,
But my favorite. I really liked. What do they call it in Smash Brothers? Um,
they're just finals or final smash.
Final Smash. Uh, Jeepers. I'm a very big fan of Ryu in. I think it it's in the Marvel vs. Capcom series when he does the Hadouken, like the Super Ultra Mega Hadouken, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically like a Kamehameha, like like
Yeah,
from
it's like fills the screen.
this from the Cell games, like a giant, just like energy beam. I like Akuma's in that same game as well. But like ultimate favorite, probably I guess I'd
Tough one.
say Cable,
Cable
Cable,
from MC2.
because an enormous gun, bigger than anything on the screen, just like falls into his arms and just goes like
Now,
takes up half the screen.
now that game has its own ultimates because you had like you could do the three at once, right? I mean,
Yes,
I'm sure we'll talk about it a little
hyper
more.
combo finish and
That I think
super
is
hyper
like
combo
one of
finish.
the best like ultimate finishers like in a game, like when you get the three at once. But like
Hmm.
DBZ does that too, like kind of the same kind of fighting
Yes.
ultimate, and I love the animation in that. Like when you do the ultimate fighting, like Goku's one of his finishing moves, and it's not really a finishing move because they kind of like later the later fighting game they kind of let you do those mid game, kind of it
Yeah,
feels like.
like like you could do like Vegeta's what is it? Big
Gatling,
Bang,
the Big Bang attack or
Gallic
Gatling gun,
gun.
Gatling gun. But yeah, like
Yeah.
Goku does the Super Saiyan 3. He like turns Super Saiyan 3, and it's like it looks freaking awesome. But
Hmm.
I like Scorpion where he like does the skull. Like that's like my little other classic
Oh,
one.
the
Yeah,
and like light somebody on fire.
I just love I love getting the Mortal Kombat ones. They're just so nostalgic because I feel like
Yeah.
that's obviously what started it all. Because I don't really remember like like us not Super Nintendo Street Fighter really having a ton of like really finishing moves, right? It just like felt like Mortal Kombat
Nope.
really started it.
Yeah, it really was a Mortal Kombat. That was like really the draw for Mortal Kombat in the beginning, and I'm sure you remember like as well, however old we were. I think we were in grade school when first Mortal Kombat came out. But just remembering when people were saying like, "Oh my God, there's these things called fatalities at the end where you kill the person you're fighting." And for someone who's only played like really like I had only played like a couple maybe fighting games at that point, like, and one of them was Street Fighter Two, like Tournament Edition or whatever, Super Street
No, the
Fighter,
one that everyone
Super
played.
Street Fighter. Yeah, um, like that seemed like, oh my God, like this is the wave of the future, like new and gritty, like you get to kill somebody. Then you see them and you're like, wow, some of these are really brutal, some of these are just silly.
Hmm.
Like Johnny Cage's, I think. What was his? Was that the ball punch? Was that the punch to the groin?
I mean, he did that. I think it's a move.
Was that just a
I
move?
don't know if it was his final. I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember what like Sonya Blade's finishing move
Kano
was. I
takes out
think
the
she.
heart. I think doesn't Kano like rip your heart out?
Oh yes.
Yeah, Kano like
Does
ripped.
doesn't he also like light you on fire with a laser eye? Or maybe that's later games.
Maybe. Sub Zero was
I'm
interesting.
sure.
He like frees you and then he just like shatter you in blood and gore. But
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna freeze you extra. Not the way I froze you during the fight we just had, but I'm gonna
mhm.
freeze you extra. That'll make you,
One of the other
brittle.
animations I like little like subtle like things is that from Injustice. So I liked there's
Hmm.
one where you're playing as Wonder Woman and she just like all of her like Amazonians come and like
Oh,
they do it like a combo attack against the person. I don't know. I love that for some odd reason. I think it's hilarious.
she just calls on Themyscira. Like the whole country itself comes and
So
handles her fight for her.
so
Well, cool. Oh,
my other question
yeah.
for you
What you got?
is not your favorite character, but this one's gonna make you think a little bit. Favorite unlocked character. So like not like your
Oh, what's your
initial
base set?
Yeah, like the one that you've unlocked. Like you're just like, oh, I'm so excited I locked this person. I didn't have them before. It's like I don't know. Like you might not be even remember because I think like by the time you unlock them all, you don't even remember what the original are sometimes.
You know what it was? I think it was in Mortal Kombat 2. Um, there were two, I think, in that one that I remember. One was
Smoke.
Smoke,
Smoke was one.
and then Noob Saibot. I'm not sure if that was in the second one or maybe in the third one, but
Oh,
I played a lot of the second one, and then but I didn't own it. But I did own Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for Super Nintendo. I think that's the one with Noob Saibot. But yeah, yeah, no,
two
those were
was two
cool
with
because I love the Sub Zero and Scorpion look, like their
and
ninja.
Reptile. Reptile was in the
And
first one.
yes, I loved him in. Oh, that's right, he was in the first game,
Mm,
Reptile. But I loved being him in Mortal Kombat 2.
yeah, the whoopsies.
Um,
Remember that?
yes,
Remember
yeah,
that? Whoopsie.
Toasty.
Or Toasty? It
Well,
was a Toasty.
there
That's
was
a
such a
Toasty.
there was such a debate over what that guy is saying in school. Just like
Toasty.
it was either
Whoopsie.
toasty, whoopsie. I'm sure there were other theories thrown around, but
That was such a funny little thing. I love that. I love the I don't know. Mortal Kombat was a funny game. It got really bad for a while, but I like how it's kind of come back to what made it
yeah, it is kind of
made
like
good.
turned like full circle lately.
But yeah, my favorite unlockable. Obviously Smash Brothers unlocks are always really fun. I think the original one was trying to get Ness. In the original Mario 64, I mean the original 64 version.
Oh, of Smash Brothers to
Yeah,
get
like I liked
Ness.
him.
Okay.
I liked him, but I'm gonna have to say like the one that makes me laugh the most is Lizard Man from Soul Calibur.
Oh,
He just it's just I don't know why it's just a lizard man. That's literally all he is. But like the guy,
okay.
the announcer's like, he's like Ivy versus Lizard Man.
Is it really? His name is Lizard Man
Yeah.
from Soul Calibur. All right, I gotta look this guy up. From the first one or the
Well,
like? Is there anyone in
the
particular?
first Soul Calibur, like technically Soul
Yeah.
Calibur is a sequel. Um, but yeah, Lizard Man from Soul Calibur, and he's just funny because like one of his thing when he wins, if he's like near water, he'll just jump into the water for no reason, like rah, like all excited.
Like work's done, job's done. Just jumps into the water. Oh my god! He honestly looks like a Turok villain,
Yep.
like from the N64 version of the Turok the
Did
Dinosaur
you
Hunter.
find his original one though? Because he obviously gets like
Yeah,
way better
that's what
looking.
I'm looking at. Soul Calibur 1 for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, that was
Was it
Dreamcast.
on the
That was a
Dreamcast?
Dreamcast game.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, he was just so funny when you finally got him. It was just him and Voldo. I think Voldo was it. I can't remember if he was even locked or not. Voldo's weird. Voldo's
Voldo.
yeah,
I think I
Voldo.
remember Voldo. He's got like blade hands, right?
Yeah, and he
Like
looks like a dominatrix. Looks like he belongs in Pulp Fiction.
okay.
But
Yes. I remember Voldo.
but yeah, like I said, that's
Um
we could go a lot. We can go all day long with fighting games, like little small five favorites. But it's like you can't really go into deep conversations. But
I think that like yeah, like the fact that you could unlock characters in these, like I love that, and being able to do. I think in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, it took a while to
mhm.
unlock everybody because I think you started with a base set of like 16,
Yeah, it's
but
like
you can
nuts.
expand up to like 40. I forget
Yep.
how many actually there are.
But you had to like it's like it's just literally just beating the
Yeah,
game
there's
over
like
and over and over again, right? Like don't you just like
yep.
beat the game over again? Some of the fighting games is like weird. You have to do like certain kind of like have weird criteria like in order to do it. Like there's some that you
Hmm.
like I know like in Smash Brothers was like that. It's like make sure you beat the arcade mode 5 times. Play the game for 500
Yes.
hours. You know?
Yeah, so the time ones I hate, or like it would be like a weird challenge with a character that you never want to fight with.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
win, like beat the game with Noob Saibot. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
you know
Make
how to do that.
like make sure you like, I don't even know what some weird ones are. I think they've gotten a little better at that. Like
Hmm.
nowadays they just make you pay for it. Like they don't even have you
That's
unlock.
true.
It's
That's
just
true.
DLC. It's like
Well, I
But
think that like that's what they tend to just like hold back the characters and be like, hey, like we're gonna add these characters. And it's like before, it's like I used to earn those. I
not
used to earn
really. You
those
would have
characters.
to think Mortal Kombat. Like you didn't really. You just bought another game. Like I mean,
Yep,
you couldn't like
that's
add
true.
characters, right? Like they made the game, and then that's all you got. And then if you wanted more, you had to buy the next game. At least this, you don't have to buy another game. You could just say, well, I'll spend $5 for that one character, or spend another $30, which is half the price of a game, for like 10 characters. So like I don't feel like that's like a I don't know. I think it makes sense. The one thing I don't get is when you have to start paying for like costumes and different like skins.
Grown.
The one thing I almost did buy was for Dragon Ball Z because like you can get the you can purchase the original Japanese music track instead of the game
Oh,
music track, so you can play with
okay.
like actual like music from the actual show. I was like,
That's
what?
kind of cool.
I was like, they should have put this in the beginning, but
Hmm.
you know, they're making $2 off me if I buy it, so I guess it's okay. But
Okay, good. I really like this where this conversation is going because we're already talking about the secret things in fighting games,
well,
and
that's the best. That's the fun part, right? It's all the little like hidden
it really
gems.
is. It really is. So why don't we take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll start talking about our honorable mention.
And we're back. Paul, fight.
Ready? Fight.
What's your first honorable mention? Go. Or I'll go
I
first.
I remember this game so well. I played so many hours of it. I had the demo for it for PlayStation One, mind you, and then I actually got the full game. Very rare when that would happen, where I'd play a demo and then I'd be like, I need this. Because I don't know if you remember, PlayStation used to do these
Demo
like
disc.
discs they would send out like with a bunch of demos, you
Yep.
know.
I didn't have a PlayStation
So
One, but I know. I know.
the one that this game came out in 1997, and it was the first game that I felt was like trying to realistically show me what a sword fight would be like. And that game is Bushido Blade.
Oh. Okay.
Now, it would give you the option not just of character, but also the type of weapon you would choose. So you could choose from a katana, a longsword, a saber, a broadsword, even the thing from like a sledgehammer too, which is so ungraceful. But I mean, the rapier from like fencing, you could even use one of those. Uh, each weapon it has like a realistic length and like a weight because every part of this game is about like what would you like it asks the question, how long would you last in a sword fight? Most of the time, not long. Not
Yeah.
long at all.
Yeah.
And once you start increasing the difficulty of the game, like if you're not playing like on easy mode, you could die in seconds. And in the PlayStation 1 era, where load times are forever and gameplay is so short, it is like tragic when you would just get your ass kicked
Listeners, just
very quickly
I
and have
accidentally
to wait for it to load again.
I accidentally opened a video of the game, and you heard some sound effects in the background, but
Oh, good.
it's like
But what I mean, like, there's not like when you actually fight, there's no music. You're usually like, there are some like environmental elements. So like as you slice, you could cut down like little trees and mess with the environment a little bit, and you can kind of use the environment to your advantage because there's snow on the ground, and I think that makes you run slower or like you could slip.
Mm-hmm.
But you could very easily just like fall over, and then somebody could just come up and stab you, and that'd be it.
I mean,
That'd be that.
the graphics of this game, like I'm sure, looked great back then, but it's so weird.
It's very boxy.
Yeah,
Lots
it's
of
very very
it's very
boxy.
polygony,
Yeah,
polygonal.
yeah,
Um,
no, definitely.
but it's made by SquareSoft. There was a certain
Looks
amount
like
of
it. I was
care
gonna say it looks like
that was
It
taken
looks
care of.
like Final Fantasy VII. It looks a little
Yeah.
bit like that, you know.
So imagine like an arena. It wasn't like a huge arena, but you could just run away. You could just run away from your opponent and like try to outmaneuver them. Use that to your advantage. Like try to feint them and like play like you're scared, but then like come at them really hard. I don't know. It was such an interesting fighting game that it was trying so hard to realistically put you into like a sword fighting situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you could wound people. I'd won like plenty of matches with like a paralyzed arm dragging a limping leg behind me, but just managed to like jab somebody in the face and they
Yeah.
like fall over instantly. So I'm like, yay, I won. I'm crippled for life, but I won. Like,
Wow. Do they make more of
so
those? Do they make a lot
yeah,
of
I
those games?
believe there was. I remember. I think for PlayStation One as well, there was a second one.
Yeah, I see a
Uh,
second one on here.
I don't know if there were any beyond that, any beyond the second one, because by that point, I mean late '90s into early 2000s, things like Tekken were taking over, Soul Calibur. Um, what was this? So I guess Kengo Master of Bushido, also developed by the same developer. Uh, that was made for PlayStation 2, but that seems to be the last thing.
Hmm.
So Bushido Blade 2. Honestly, the only other game, and I'll shout this out because it's super fun, that's similar to this is Nidhogg, the 2D
The jousting game.
side-scrolling awesome game that when you win, the world serpent comes and eats you
That's funny.
after you win each round.
But I've never played this game. I've never touched it. So, but it looks cool. I mean, I think I'd have fun with it. But it definitely seems like a very.
It's dated. I'm sure if I tried to play it now, it wouldn't be as fun.
Pure
God,
nostalgia.
I would get such a nostalgia kick playing it though.
But it was like it seemed like it was a slower fighting game, right? It was very more strategic.
Much slower. And you had different stances you could choose from too while you're in the match. So you could choose like a more defensive, kind of like a medium stance, or like a Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones, like a hyper aggressive. I'm literally holding it above my head to smash you with it.
Yep.
Kind of stance. So you could take your pick.
Should have made Terry Kasai like this. That's what they should have done. That's what
they. For those of you waiting at home, it's only been about 20 minutes into the episode where we mentioned Star Wars: Masters of Terrascasi.
We brought it up at the end of the last episode. I had to say it.
I know.
But definitely,
it's going to come back in other ways too.
Definitely. I've never played that game, to be quite honest. I just know it looked bad.
I did play it.
I never played it, but
there is a GIF going around. I'm sure you could find it if you looked hard enough of Chewbacca's victory pose in that game. Because for those of you who can't watch, I'm sorry, I'll give you a verbal representation of what happens. But he just kind of like turns his back to the camera. He
gives a Wookiee hand. Pretty much, he gives the hand. Is that what he does?
It's as if he's saying, "Bitch, please," and just like he turns around and walks away.
What does he fight with? I mean, I don't just a blaster, like the bowcaster.
Yes, he's got the bowcaster, and it's like he's pistol whipping you though with it. Like he's fighting like hand to hand, but if you're far like.
Oh, God.
It's so stupid. Like, yes, Han Solo has a gun. Like, there are people that are fighting with guns, but yet you can win still fighting somebody else with a gun.
That's funny.
Princess Leia's in it.
I do want to give a shout out though to get off of Terra Kasai because it's a bad game.
Yes.
Never played it, but I could tell. I want to give a shout out since you mentioned polygons. I'm going to give a shout out to Virtua Fighter. I used to love playing that in the arcade.
Virtua Fighter?
Yeah,
yep.
I don't know why. I just always thought that was such a cool concept. I mean, yeah, it's blocky and whatever, but I remember like just seeing it in the arcade, like on the gigantic screens, and like they had the weird like the Jaguar cat character.
Yes.
Like it was just like
King?
it was a king. Yeah, King.
Because he comes out in Tekken. He joins the Tekken cast later.
But I just thought it was a cool it was like the beginning of 3D fighting. So I just always I wanted to shout it out because I remember I would always want to play it. I'd be so bad at it, but there was always a part of me that's like I'm going to get better at this game. The next month I come here.
Next time I'm at the arcade, I'm going to get better at this.
But I just wanted to shout that one out.
That's a good one. I remember that, and it was like Sega's first foray into the 3D fighting.
They did a lot of those games, though. I mean, you can get them. You can get them as little figurines in Shenmue, because I mean, it was a.
Oh yeah, very popular.
I think they made like 4 or 5 of those games. I can't remember exactly how many. But
now, let me ask you this. This is kind of like a preference question because I'm pretty sure Virtua Fighter had a time limit. Bushido Blade had no time limit and no health gauge. See, I mean, like you could kill somebody with one hit. And that would be that. It all depended on where you hit them. Do you prefer fighting games with a time limit, or if you're in settings, do you automatically put that to infinite and just make them as long as they have to be?
It's a good segue for my honorable mention.
Liz.
I prefer stock.
Ah, okay, okay. Well, we can kind of share a little bit of this. So go ahead, go ahead. I
um,
do prefer stock too. I like that idea.
I feel like that's a good representation. If you do it infinite, it's like how do you really tell, who's really winning? It's like you don't get a sense of like the psychology of fighting is different because you're just sort of like both dying like infinitely in a sense. Because if you do
No, I meant
infinite,
like the time. The time limit was what I was talking about.
okay, well yeah, okay. So how do you if you do infinite though, you don't have any kind of sense of end, I guess. So how do you decide if
Yeah, you could just let it keep going and going, and yeah.
there's no like kind of like a sense of like okay, I see what you're saying now. Because if you're playing a fighting game, it doesn't have the option. You would just put no time. So I guess
Mhm.
in those games, I would pick infinite. I feel like that's a better representation of the true victor.
But you're
Like
talking about health bars, right? And like, what
yeah,
do you prefer as a health bar? So you like stock better than like a traditional bar and like the percentage. You like the high percentages when it gets dangerously high.
yeah. So my next honorable mention is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Excellent.
And
Nice.
I will always pick stock for that game over any other representation. Like I have friends that want to do time. I don't know why. I feel like you get like a good sense of who's going to be the winner with stock. Like it's like okay, well I'm down to one person. I have one life left. Let me see if I can survive and make a comeback.
Hmm.
When you're time, it's like if you lose by time, it's sort of crappy. It's stupid. It's like okay, well I wasn't really tracking how many times they died, and I guess I'll just figure out who won at the end. Like, because it just try to track it that way, because you fall over and over again. Cause, I mean, I'm talking about Smash Brothers in particular, like in that kind of a sense. Because if you're in a normal fighting game, obviously you kind of have like two lives, because you have the first round, second round, or later fighting games, you have two life bars, because you just stand back up. Because that's the more
Yep,
modern way of doing it, which is really smart.
it is, and that's Killer Instinct ahead of its time because that they were just like the two life bars. You would fight, and you would get knocked over, and
Give
it would
a
just like just animate them standing up, and then you'd fight the second round. So
That's surprising
yeah,
they
it's
didn't do that.
interesting to see that that's like where fighting games have
Yeah, I
gone.
thought it was. I didn't even know. I didn't play Killer Instinct really that much, so I didn't even know that was a thing then.
Oh, well, I'm shouting it out. That was one of my shout outs. I played that a lot
I
for
I
Super
like the
Nintendo. I
box
love that
art.
game.
I mean, I played actually the newer one a little bit. I mean, I played
Hmm.
the one that just came out for the Xbox One. That was actually a lot of fun. I was really good at it
Cool.
for some odd reason. I don't know why, but
Their combos are different than any other game, though. They're very, but it is a cool thing.
but
One thing I
no.
want to ask you about the Smash though, before you keep going. Well, what you were saying about like timed battles,
Hmm.
um, those are the worst, especially if you're playing like locally with somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the worst. Like that's the worst way for the fight to resolve. It's like I have slightly more health than you, and time is up.
Or no,
Therefore, a win for me.
or you just happen to get knocked out once and they never got knocked out. Like it's like there's no.
Hmm.
It's like okay, well I suicided myself because I forgot to grab something. Like I feel
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's just a mistake. But like I feel like with three stock, usually three stock is the kind of the go to for me. Like you can say, okay, well, that's a good like you have like three chances to kind of prove yourself, and then if you mess up the first two, then it kind of makes you little like try a little better.
Hmm.
It's like having like it's like that like that last quarter. It's like I'm down by two. Like let me just try one more time. And sometimes like it's kind of fun, just sort of that uphill battle where when you're in like a time limit, like I only have 30 seconds to try to knock this guy out. It's like you don't. It's not as exciting. Like it's like I can't. I'm not gonna be able to win now. It's only 30
I
seconds
like
left.
I like that idea of like the when you die in Smash Brothers, and it's like you die, you see like the big flash of your death, like depending on where you got hit on the screen,
Hmm.
and then like you see yourself like float back down. It's like almost as if saying like, okay, be more careful this time.
Yep.
Like it's
Yep.
it's trying to teach you
Like
like,
you'll
okay, well
notice
that
like
didn't
people.
work.
Yeah. Like you people like don't like the first time they die they just jump off the platform pretty quickly. Like okay, let me get back in there. But when they have
Hmm.
one life left, they're just like they kind of stand there for a little bit and just like think because
Hmm.
you have that little like kind of you have that moment of like invincibility. But no, I love Smash. I mean, I know we're kind of weird into this, but I pretty much have gotten every single Smash game ever created. Like I'm not an expert at it. I'm not like super crazy at it. I don't like expect to win every time. I'm generally usually get I don't win all the time. I'm not that great, but I just have always enjoyed it. It's fun. It's the side things are always really good, especially when I was like the original ones, like the 64 games. I try to max out every little like you beat it at every character,
Hmm.
unlock all the unlockables, get
Oh.
everything done. It's like this newest one, the Ultimate. It literally is like the best version of all of them. Like it's like they perfected it. I mean, they follow the formula, but there's always like something about some of the iterations of it I just didn't like. Melee, people will say, "Oh, that's like the best, like more tournament based one." I mean, I liked Melee, nothing get me wrong, but didn't really like the Wii one as much. Like hated the Wii controller. And then the Wii U one though was actually really awesome. I really liked that one a lot. But then this one here for the Switch is just perfect because they brought every single character back. There's
Hmm.
so many
Hmm.
characters in this game. They just keep adding more, and they all work. I don't get all in the nitty gritty of like, oh, this one's OP and this one is too strong and all that stuff. But this game,
Jigglypuff's way overpowered, man.
I mean, there's like
I'm just saying.
there's over 80 characters in this freaking game now. It's like it's
Yep.
nuts,
Solid
and
Snake.
well, that's been there for a while.
I know, but isn't that just so weird that like a PlayStation character, like a, it's
Like, he
still
used to be
like
Nintendo.
that's true. The original Metal Gear came out
Yep.
from Nintendo.
That used to be the rules, but now there's just no more rules. It's been shot out the window. It's the only
Yep.
rule is that it's a video game. That's really it. Like it's all
Yep.
that
Yep.
matters. Like I
I mean,
mean,
Sony tried with their battle royale, and it's just nobody really cares about that. What was that game? The driving game with the clown.
Twisted Metal.
I'm Twisted Metal. I'm like, I remember when that clown was popular.
You
It
know,
was not any time recently.
I
Like
like Twisted Metal. That was a fun game, but yeah,
it was.
it was just a moment in time.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
you had like Keith and Drake in there and Sly Cooper and
Yeah.
I mean Crash Bandicoot and Nate and
Now
for
you're really scraping the bottom here.
and for some reason a Big
Crash
Daddy. I don't know
Bandit.
why. I don't know why Big Daddies were in that fighting game either. I don't get
They
the.
needed to fill it out with heavies, man. They needed to fill out that roster.
Yeah,
I'm saddened that you didn't like Melee or Brawl as much because those were the two that I wanted to mention. Those were my honorable
it's
mention.
not that I didn't like them.
So
I just think they've just improved it so much. And
sure,
I
sure.
Melee I only like Melee whatever you want to call it. I like that better only because of the GameCube controller. Like granted, yes, you can play Brawl with a GameCube controller. I just didn't have one. And one thing I'll give Brawl some credit, they added some really awesome new characters because they had Sonic,
Yes.
they added what you call it, Metal Gear, Snake, Solid Snake. But
Hmm. Hmm.
but what is it you want to say
Yep.
about those?
Well, no, I love Brawl, and I actually really enjoyed the adventure mode in it. I know that
Oh,
we're
that I
not
did.
supposed to talk
Yeah,
about the the campaigns in them, but it actually had like I liked it because the cutscenes were
yep,
interesting. It
yep,
was like, how do you get all these characters
yeah.
together? Like, why are they fighting? Like, I thought it was funny. I'm like, at least they're trying. It's not like just
What's
like
there's a name
I'm
there's a
walking and then I start fighting and then
subspace
emissary, the
emissary.
subspace emissary.
I
Yeah.
did love that. Like that part I liked. I think really what killed me with the Wii with that is because I wasn't living at home. I had moved out and I was all by myself and had really no one to play with. Like that's really I think that really kind of
Uh,
kind of messed up Brawl a little bit. Like I had a friend that came over and played a little bit with me, but it really was just a controller. I mean, I went through like that single player for a little while, trying to unlock all the little unlockable
yes.
things,
Yes.
hit the thing with a hammer. I love that. Like I love those things.
Did you do the what is it, the home run? The hell
I
was it
tried to,
called?
yeah, because I had done all
But
those
you
things.
know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
had done all those things in Melee. I love that in Melee because you didn't really have
Hmm.
all those things in the 64 version, even though that's what started it all. I mean, I that sort of is a nostalgia thing for me. Like that was a big, huge, exciting thing when that was announced. Do you remember the commercial for that? Do you remember what that
The
was?
original one, like
Yeah.
you and me and you, no matter how they toss the dice.
So
Yeah, so
good.
happy together. And then they're all like in plush
Yep.
costumes, like
Yep.
of Mario, Pikachu, Kirby, and then they just start fighting each
Beating the
other.
crap out
They're
of
just
them.
beating the crap out of each other.
But
Oh, that's good.
yeah, but with Ultimate though, like I just it's just I feel like everything is there. You know, it's like everything you want in a Smash game is there. Every character is there. When they brought in 8 player Smash to the Wii U version, that's bonkers. By the way, when I first saw them do that, I'm like, what? That seems not. And I've done up to 7 once in person, like with everyone there in the room. You can't do that
Oh
now, I
man.
guess. That'd be illegal. But
Looked down upon.
but the fact that you could actually physically do that if you had enough controllers and do 8 people in one battle, like it's just the game is nutty fun. I mean, there's some people out there that say it's not considered a true fighting game, but like I don't. That's bullshit. There's a good fighting
I think
game.
that is pretty
Yeah, I mean
bullshit. Yeah.
it's in the fighting tournaments, and honestly, like the fighting tournament stuff. Like if you watch Evo, that's like some of the best content from there. I love watching like the battles between like Jigglypuff and Star Fox because those are usually one of the ones that are up there in the top for some odd reason. But they're so good, and I don't know. Smash Brothers is a really fun game.
Like what why can't there be a fun fighting game that doesn't involve like eviscerating somebody or seeing their entrails? You know? Like why not? Like
Well, no,
it's fun.
I don't think
It's
it's
like
because of that. I think it's because it's like a platformer. So it's like it's not like your traditional fighter, like a 2D. You
okay.
know, it's there's
I don't
it's
know. It's still it's very I don't know, it's like 2.5D. It's like 2.5 dimensions, right? Because you can
yeah
kind of like roll behind things
yeah.
and kind of like slip by people. It's not like people are just like blocks that you can't get around or can't
Hmm.
jump over. Um, I don't know. I mean, like the people that play a whole hell of a lot of what is it, Brawlhalla? Like you can't have games like that or other ones without Smash Brothers.
Sure. No,
So,
exactly.
I mean,
I
I think
think
there's certainly a market for people who want to play games like this, and they are fighting games. That's what you're doing in it. You are
yeah.
fighting one person.
I think
One thing is
that
fighting another.
mentality has changed a little, like more so now. But I feel like when like Melee and Brawl were around, like it didn't have that kind of same resonance as like a true fighting game. Melee, I think, really made it
Sure.
more of that competitive game. But I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's not, you can't really. There's not much else you can say about it. I guess like who is your main in Smash Brothers? Who do you usually pick?
Who do I usually pick? Well, on a, I'm optimistically I'll pick Link. But I really did enjoy using Ganondorf. Um, the only other one that I would probably play as is Kirby.
Mine's Samus. Always been
Oh, you
Samus.
like Samus? Okay. I can.
I've always liked Samus. Like when 64 came out, just like I just like the look of Samus and like the little like
Mhm.
being able to shoot the big ball of energy. Like I just love
Oh yeah,
that
like the
mechanic.
charge blast.
So I just kind
Yeah.
of always stuck with her like throughout the fighting. And I tried the other ones, but that one I'm always really good at. Like I just know her moves so well because they don't really change too much through each game. You know, it's like
I
you know
I
what I mean?
like that about fighting games too. Like how like you can still play Ryu the same way you played or Ryu, same way you played him for Super
Yeah.
Nintendo. You can play him now.
Yep. Yep. But yeah.
Um,
Anything else you want to say
yeah,
about Smash?
it's fun. I love it. I'll play Smash anytime. Like it's a game that you could just. I feel like it's very easy to just get into, and yeah, I'm nowhere near the same. Like I've seen people playing in those tournaments, just playing competitively or trying to play competitively, and I'm like good for you.
You know,
I just want to do the home run contest a couple
you
times, and
you should get this game so we can play online.
I know, I should get Ultimate, especially since it's got everything. And the last one I bought was for the Wii, so I'll
One
yeah, it
thing I
might be
will
time to
ask, so
upgrade.
I will ask this question because there is supposedly former unannounced characters because the next DLC pack because now they're doing
Hmm,
DLC packs. So they've released 5 characters in the first DLC, and
okay.
then they have the 6 more that's going to come out. They've only announced 2 of them, which is Min Min and it was Minecraft guy, the guy from Minecraft.
Oh, I
Yeah,
forget his name.
Steve.
But yeah, Steve. Yeah.
So who would you want those 4 other ones to be? Like, who would you want to come to Smash? And who do you know everyone that's in Smash? I guess is the question too.
You know what I would like? I'm gonna be honest. I would like the 4 champions from Breath of the Wild. I would like
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
the
Yeah,
Goron
they
champion.
need
I'd
more
want the Rudo
representation.
champion. I want one of those Zora because the Zora looks so freaking cool in this game,
Hmm.
in that game. And then yeah, the Gerudo um, lady there,
Yeah, but
Ibarra. I
that
forget
is
her
the
name.
thing about Zelda is like their representation's weird. You have like you have 3 versions of Link,
Hmm.
right? And then they have Zelda. They actually split in Ultimate. They split Zelda and
Zelda.
Sheik. They
Yeah, now
split her.
you can just be chic on your own. Yep.
But yeah, I just like I feel they need more. They're right. They do need some more representation.
I wouldn't mind if they also expanded what Ganondorf could do too. I feel like there should be a way to turn him into at least like a sort of big pig. You know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
not a huge one, but like just like a Donkey Kong or like
They should bring Wind Waker Ganondorf in. That's what I would want.
yes, yes,
Or
that would be cool.
Demise. Bring in
Double
Demise.
swords. Yeah, I would take Demise. He's pretty cool looking thing. Yeah, no,
Not
I
not
definitely would
not the
want more
monster, not the
Zelda
monster thing, but
characters.
like the Ganondorf version of him, right? The
Oh no,
end.
no, yeah, I got it. The one you fight with a sword,
What is
not the
that called?
goofy looking one with his cute toes that you have to have to smash.
Oh man,
All right.
I think I would I mean obviously like it'd be fun if they had Sora. Like that's a big ask for people
Mhm.
just to throw Sora in there because he would fit so well
Sure.
into that. But I want them to do like Toad and Toadette, like ice climbers.
Oh, like a
That's what I'd always liked them to do is
all
like
right.
a combo one like that because they have like things like
Okay.
ice climbers and Pikmin and all that stuff. But
Would you want it to be like the treasure hunter Toad
yeah,
version, or just okay?
yeah, because he got his own
I could see
his
that
own
working.
game, so I feel like he deserves representation.
He does.
He
He
deserves some
does.
representation. But no, I'm sure there's some other ones I can think of. I wanted the wild ones. I'm not even sure what they would be. I can't think of it because I mean they brought Joker from Persona 5 in there, so it's like that right there like blew me away. I'm like, what? Why? He's not. The game isn't even on the system. Like, why is he here? But
Did they? I mean, isn't there a? I might be wrong on this. Wasn't part of the Persona 5 like a fighting game? Like, isn't there like an arena version of the
there's a
game?
Persona Fighter game. Yeah, I never played it though.
Okay, could fit. It could fit. Well, Justin, you did take my well, you didn't take it. It was there for the taking, using the same honorable mention. But I did have different versions, and you have the newest one for the Switch, so I'll try to get onto that. But I'll talk for a little bit on one of my shout outs, and maybe you could share this with me. I don't know. I only ever played it on emulator because
Okay,
I couldn't find it anywhere, and that's Gundam Wings Endless Duel for
never
Super
played
Nintendo.
that.
I've only ever played it on my computer on
Well,
an emulator.
I've played some of the Super Nintendo fighting games because they never came to the states. Like the old like Dragon Ball Z ones. I'd always like try to get
Oh
all those just
yes,
to see
yes.
what they were like.
Yep.
I don't know about Gundam though. I don't think I ever tried those. I didn't try them.
It's very fun. It's very fun, and it's fun to just be. There's a few Gundam fighting games out there, but the one from Gundam Wing, based around like the Endless Waltz movie, um, was really cool because you got to be like the final versions of those Gundams as well as the original ones. Um, so it's just a really fun one. I just got to throw it out there.
Cool.
You don't really transform into anything. It's just giant robots fighting. The backgrounds are okay. They're huge. They're huge robots.
I sort of
That's
have a
it.
mech game shout out. I brought up this game before.
Okay.
It was the Power Ranger game from Sega Genesis. It was like
Okay.
it wasn't even a fighting game. You could play it 2 player, but it was more like a beat 'em up
Like a beat 'em
game
up.
that was
Yeah.
fighting though. But like, cause like you'd have like levels where you would beat a bunch of putties up, but then you would have like a final battle where you were in the Megazord fighting the other monster. Like
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
was like a fighting game, but with like little mini missions in between. But like, I just wanted to shout that out because it's better than the one we played on Game Pass though. Battle of the Grid. That was horrible. It was so bad.
Was it Battle for the Grid? Battle? Who
Battle of the
cares?
Grid.
No one cares.
Battle. I don't know. Whatever. So you don't have another honorable mention, or that was.
Um, I do have. Well, okay. So I'll bring this up since we've already kind of talked about it. But Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay.
That was the only other one that like really spoke to me because it was like the first Mortal Kombat came out. I played it like a little bit. I didn't have it. But Mortal Kombat 2 came out, and I believe like one of my neighbors had it, and I just sat at his house for so many like so many days after school just playing Mortal Kombat 2 and just trying to find the secret characters, like how do you unlock them, and being able to play as the secret characters from the first game, being able to play as
Yeah.
Reptile, which I love that as a
Did you
trend.
get
Like
Goro
in the next
second
game, you get the characters, like the secret characters from the last game. They will be playable characters, and there'll be more secret characters that you
Mhm.
can
Was Goro
unlock.
in the second game though? Well, you could be
Who?
Goro. Goro, right? Didn't they make him a character in the second game, Goro?
No, Goro.
'Cause
No, it was
he was the boss.
Montaro was
But
his name.
oh, that's right. But he was the boss. I just didn't know if they brought him over or he
No,
was
they didn't. They
playable.
didn't bring Goro into it. They didn't bring Goro into it, but Montaro is like his father.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's what I remember, and I just remember. I think this like I feel like we talked about this when we talked about favorite boss fight way back when in season 1.
We did.
When we said like how did that like happen? Like okay, Goro fought and lost in the first Mortal Kombat. Then his father came and took over. Like
You
what?
have
Like how did that
you have
succession
to
go? It's like
watch
well,
Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It explains everything. No.
yes, please, all of you, stop what you're doing and go watch Mortal Kombat. What is it? Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Who cares? Kintaro. Kintaro is his name. Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Goro's kin.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Sounds like a good enough reason for me.
But yeah, so no, Mario Kart 2 is funny because that's the one I think like a lot of times like you always play like the first one in the arcade, and then you buy the second one for like your console or something like that. Like I mean, no one really had like Mortal Kombat 1. Like I feel like you always play that in the arcade. I didn't really know many people that had the first game.
Yep.
But then you'd always have the second and the third and so forth. And then I think after the third one,
I feel like the second blew up like crazy.
Yeah, like the third one, like it was okay because I think they brought in Nightwolf in the third one. So Nightwolf?
Yeah, he's in the third one, and so is Shiva. So you get to be a 4-armed creature in the third one.
But then it got weird. You had Mortal Kombat 4, and then you had Mortal Kombat Ultimate. Then they had to start doing like the Street Fighter stuff. It's like Arena 5G, 40,002. Like it's like what are you doing? Stop confusing me.
Yeah, they really took a weird turn with that. And then they were trying to do like the solo Sub-Zero games, or like we can make these adventure games. It's like no, we don't want to climb chains as Sub-Zero. We want to just freeze shit. Like nobody wants to platform as Sub-Zero. They just want to kill stuff.
2 brought in what's it what was that guy with the claws with a face like the teeth? Baracus.
Oh, Baracus. Yes, Baracus. He had the blade
awesome.
arms.
Yeah,
like
he was
the
awesome.
blades that came out of the top of his arms.
I like Baracus. Yeah. I mean, Scorpion's like my go-to guy for Mortal Kombat though. Like I just
so
love
cool.
to get over
He's
him.
the original cool guy.
Yeah, it's just I liked him. I did like playing as Raiden. I wasn't good with Raiden, but I enjoyed playing with Raiden.
I love all the things that Raiden screams when you play him. Like when he does that pushing move where he flies across the screen pushing. Yeah. He's like talking for like a full minute as he does it. He's like, like whatever he's saying, he's just like going.
Are those actual people like posing in those games? Like, are there
I think that they're based on real people. Like they're based on real models and just animated. But I wonder if there are actual like actors.
It's like the people that they go to conventions. It's like I'm the original Raiden for Mortal Kombat 1.
No, you're not Christopher Lambert. You're not the original Raiden.
I'm looking.
By the way, here to connect to our bonus episode from September, The Warriors, I will just say that the person who played Raiden in Mortal Kombat Annihilation also played Ajax in The Warriors. James Remar.
Oh, nice.
That was your warrior fact for the day.
So they were based on filmed actors. That's I'm reading Google. I'm just trying to see who the actors were. Like, did they were they in the credits? Did they move on to be really awesome people? Did they do some other things? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where do the actors of Mortal Kombat go? What do they do?
I don't know. I don't know, Justin. I think they went back to programming the game, which is probably what they were doing before they asked them to model.
I wish they had a list of all the actors of. I'm gonna look it up at our break. Definitely
Okay.
gonna do that. I'm gonna
Well,
look
I
it up.
know. I'm pretty sure you know what my favorite is already. I know.
Well, I had
It
one more honorable
wasn't.
mention.
Oh, you do? Okay, please. Thank you. I thought that you were done with
I only
yours.
did
No, go
Smash.
for it.
That's the only one they've had so far. That's what the shirt's for. Is my other honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Alrighty.
have a
Now I
shirt.
think I know.
I don't have a shirt for my favorite. Um, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Fighter Z,
Fighters.
Fighter Z. So this is the newest one that I have, and the newest fighting game, and I was so excited to get this game. I remember it was announced, and like they were showing things for it, and I wasn't ever play. I never like buying fighting games anymore because I'm just like I get them, I play them for like a month, and then I just stop. Like it's like that's the thing with fighting games. Like you like it for a little while, but they never really get their hooks in me too
Mhm.
much. Like they don't make me like want to keep playing Smash Brothers on the other hand because you have all those extra things to do. It's like you
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah. A lot of mini games, side stuff.
they have like the story modes and stuff where most of the other ones are just like arcades and stuff. They've gotten better at that. Let me say like there's another game I wanted to shout out was Injustice. I mean that the guys Among Us too. Like that was the story campaign of that game is amazing. Like
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and even the Mortal Kombat one supposedly got really good too. Like I mean later on, but this one like I just love the art style because I've never really played a Dragon Ball Z fighting game where I felt like I was playing the show. It felt off. It felt weird, but this one just looked awesome. And then like it came out, everyone was raving about it. I'm just like, I'm just gonna go buy this game because I like Dragon Ball Z, and this looks like a lot of fun. It the combat looked great. The fact you could do the tag in, tag out,
hmm
and the animations are great. And then just the combos were amazing. And then the story wasn't like fun, like groundbreaking by any means, but it was sort of serviceable for me to play a single player. And then you had like actually three alternate stories, so you were just like, okay, I'm gonna play through the story this way, and this way, and it gave me enough like things to do to play by myself. But then I found I was actually really good at that game. I was really happy of how good I was. Like I play with our one friend that lives in Rochester, and he loves fighting games. Like he owns a lot of them. He's really good at them, and I never beat him. But he never can beat me in this game, and he gets so mad. Like he's like, I
Oh,
don't understand why
you
you're.
finally hold your own, Justin.
He's like, I can never figure out. The only time he can beat me is when I go to his house, or when I did go to his house, and he'd have the game on Xbox, and I usually play on PlayStation. So it's just like that first few matches adjusting to the controller, because like the buttons are
Okay.
different. He's like, oh yeah, push X. I'm like, well, where's X? X is here. X is there. Like I mean, and then like after like a few
Those
turns,
don't count. Those don't count, dude.
and then like I would like beat him over and over and over again. And then I kind of got rusty. I stopped playing, and then I went to his house again, and then like, he like destroyed me because I was like not in that rhythm or something. But I love the DLC for those games. I've never bought them, but they brought some really awesome characters, and it's such a. Have you got a chance to play that yet? I've tried. I never tried to play that and show it to you,
We
but
we we played it together. Yes,
yeah,
I played it like when I visited you, and I think we played it like if we like share played it or
we
something.
tried.
But
I think we tried to, but it wouldn't work. I think that's what happened.
yeah,
But
it was fun. It's fun, and yeah, it's like they animated it in this. It's like the gameplay is in the style of the show, like the way things move, the sound effects,
yeah,
the way the characters behave and move around like the field and the arena. Like it's good. They like really put the effort in
it
because.
And
Honestly, like before that, there were like PlayStation games that
yeah.
were Dragon Ball Z games. I
There's a
remember
couple good ones.
before
Like
even
Budokai, I guess, was a good one. I didn't really play it that much, and there were some people
mhm.
that liked some of the ones in the
I
PS3.
played the first Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi for PS2, and then I think for Xbox or maybe 360. And yeah, it's the same thing like you were saying. Like you play them a little bit, and you're like, okay, like, yep, I played it.
Mm.
I'm done with this. But yeah, they were never like as wowing as seeing the Dragon Ball Fighters
And what I think what
because
was part of
looks
it is
amazing.
Akira Toriyama was part of the story of that game. He helped
Yeah,
make it, and like they had just finished making Super, and so they had all the key characters from Super in there.
yep,
The
yep.
big bad that they created for the game made sense because it was like a mixture of Cell and Boo. But yeah, it's anime still. You know, it's like I'm not gonna like give it like this like Academy Award winning thing. But it was Dragon Ball Z, which in a sense is comfort food, which is
Yep.
and the thing I liked is like the little like subtle things that they had the way the animations and the fights would work. So like if you ever had your team was ever Krillin, um, if it was Krillin, Android 18, if they were in a party together, there was a move that Android 18 would do where she would need someone else to help her do it.
Uh-huh.
Krillin would help. But if it was any other match, it was always Android 16 that would come and help. So
Oh, so if
they would
Krillin is on the
adjust it.
team, he'll actually do it.
So and then
Oh,
the
that's
other one
funny.
was that
Little
if it
touches.
was what was it Piccolo and Gotenks. So if Gotenks was any other match, he would do this like the volleyball move. Like he'd like turn like he'd do this like ball of energy where they'd volleyball it with each other
Hmm.
and then hit the person. If Piccolo's in the team, he'd be part of the serve. Like he'd be like volleyballing it with them. So it's so whenever I'm in the video, I'm volleyballing. But um, I just love those little touches of things, and just the battles could get really interesting. The animations were really cool, like how you could power up. And there is this thing you can do in the fights that I don't get to do. I mentioned if you can do it really cool things to collect Dragon Balls. So like you collect 7 Dragon Balls in the fight. I never really do this very often, and then the dragon appears. You can get a wish. So it's like give me all my health back, revive a character. Like you get to like do like this dragon wish mid fight.
That's an awesome idea. Like
Yeah,
actually
I
getting
just
in Shenron into the game.
I really miss playing that game ever since I lost my PS4. It's like I mean I can't put it on. I could rebuy it obviously, but like the DLC stuff like brought like Master Roshi in. Like I really always wanted to get
Aw,
the DLC stuff. Like you got the Great Saiyaman. He's one of the moves. You know,
great Sam, man.
but no, I love that fighting game. It's good stuff. Love it. I love it to pieces.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice.
Should be my
Been a
favorite
long time.
probably. But
I'd love to. I'd love to try like playing that again. I'm sure it would be fun. But yeah, it's definitely a step up from the dark days of the PlayStation One Dragon Ball fighting games.
there was
We
Super
played a
Nintendo.
Dragon Ball GT fighting game, and you could be Super Saiyan 4 Goku
Yeah.
when he was like Red Monkey Man. And boy, was it just awful. Like it was cool because we were like, look at all these characters, and like, well, let's try it. And it was not good, but yeah, they finally figured those games out. I'm glad.
Yep.
I'm glad. All right, well, take a quick break here. Do the research you wanted to do, and then we'll we'll come back and we'll talk about our favorite.
Okay, and we're back. So now it's the final round.
Last round.
Let's round. Fight again. So we're going to finish off our favorite fighting game. What is your
Mhm.
final? Is it Final Fury? Is it Fatal Fury?
Fatal Fury. Well, that's a different game. I never really played that one, to tell you the truth. Nor did I play King of the Fighters or Pit Fighter or half of the fighters that came out that were half-assed. But
There's a lot of the Fatal Fury ones or King of the Fighter games. They're the same game, really.
mhm.
But what is your
Do you
favorite fight? Okay, go ahead. What is your favorite fight game?
No, I was just gonna say, do you remember Pit Fighter? It was terrible.
really.
It also had, as we were talking about off mic, because the characters in Mortal Kombat are rotoscoped, where you get like
Oh
actual
yes,
film
right.
of characters and overlay them with animation and like different backgrounds. It's like that's what Pit Fighter was too. Was that kind of like
I
rotoscoped?
found a good
Um,
Kotaku article of them having a reunion or something, and it's just weird seeing them in well, it's like from like 2014, so 20 years after the game was made or something. It's
they should be
just
making a movie with them.
yeah.
Wouldn't
Jax looks
wouldn't wouldn't
awesome. He looked
yeah?
better. He
Wouldn't
looked he looked more jacked than the one that was in the
I
movie.
know? Yeah, his arms are bigger than the metal arms. Uh, so the game that I would like to talk about, my favorite fighting game of all time, is actually the fourth installment in this series. But it's actually only the second, according to the title. It's Marvel vs. Capcom 2: New Age of Heroes.
Forget it has a subtitle.
Yeah, yeah. Like after this, I didn't care because it was like the third one was like Fate of Two Worlds, and it doesn't matter.
The
It
last
doesn't
the
matter
last
because
good
this is the
Marvel versus
only
this is the last good
what
Marvel versus Capcom game.
yes, the only good Marvel vs. Capcom. Oh, the first one's pretty good, and Capcom versus SNK is all right,
Hmm.
and X Men: Children of the Atom, where they used a lot of the sprites from this game in originally was it was an arcade game. Um, they used a lot of the same like animation and sprites from that game for the Marvel characters,
I think
specifically
three
the
was
X Men.
okay. It wasn't bad, but it just didn't have the same charm.
I don't, I didn't like it. I didn't like what I played of it. I was like, it felt too samey, and it didn't feel like it was. It felt like actually it stripped away some of the stuff that I liked about the second one. So I mean, it's unique in terms of a fighting game because you get to pick three characters,
That was
right?
unique back then. Yes, definitely.
So I mean, you had Tekken Tag Tournament, which was fun, and you got two people, and you did do some kind of like combo moves where like as you were leaving and another character was coming out, like they might be able to do something, but it felt like it was harder to do that. In this game, it's like especially since I was playing this for the Dreamcast and the back triggers
No,
were
brand
how
new.
you changed characters or did the final
Yeah.
no, not to change characters, but how you like called support. Like you could get, your character. If you pressed one, you get like the left one and then the
Hmm.
right one if you use that. But I mean, it just it expanded what you could do with a fighting game. Like I love the ability to like if I'm like in a problem, like I'm getting my ass kicked, I can call up Cable real quick to just like blast somebody and give me a second to breathe, just so I can continue fighting. I have such a personal connection to this game, not only because I had it for Dreamcast, not only because um, it was like the first fighting game I felt that I got really really good at,
You were
but
good
I
at it.
was it's very close to me because I got to play it in the arcade, and it was when I was working in the mall where the
Hmm.
arcade was, and so on my half an hour lunch break working at FYE, I would walk down to the arcade. Well, I would sometimes get a little like vanilla cone,
Hmm.
like the single whatever, like the soft serve vanilla cone from McDonald's.
You
I'd get
brought
like a
you brought this
I,
up. You brought this up in our favorite arcade game
I
episode. I
did,
feel. I feel
and
like yeah.
it's this time in my life where
And
actually
wouldn't
I
you
was
let
playing it at home and I
you,
was actually able to play it at the arcade, and I got so
the
good,
true
and I would not die. I would just like my lunch break is over, so I'd look around for anybody in the mall. If they're like in the arcade, be like, "Do you want to play?" Like I have to leave.
yeah.
But I had the high score on that arcade machine, and it's like it's like that Seinfeld where George tries to get the Frogger, the arcade machine, because he
Hmm.
still has the high score on it. It was like one of those moments. I was like, I wish I could just take this whole thing with
You
me.
should you should just find that arcade machine somewhere and see
If I
if
was to buy an arcade machine, it would be that. I don't think there's any other
no,
arcade
but you have to
machine.
find that specific one
Oh,
with your high score on, right? Like you need to.
I think they unplugged it. I doubt that those are saved anywhere. But I mean, I love playing this game. I can pick this game up and play it anytime. And just the when you gave we had been like trading the Dreamcasts back and forth between us.
Hmm.
The last time I had it, it was the first thing I did. I hooked it up and I'm like, I'm gonna play this, and I played it and beat it. And I was like, yes. It was just like a nice like, I can still do this.
Now I
Still
rebought.
fun.
I obviously love that game too because I mean I think you beat it and then you let me borrow it I think or something like
Yep.
that. And I got sucked into that game as well, trying to unlock all the characters and
Yeah. There's 56 of them or 53, something like that.
Yeah, but like
It's a big lift.
really the unique thing about that game is because I think of the plethora of like the roster. Like
Hmm.
the combinations of characters is really interesting, and how they kind of let you know like what type of character they are. Like they actually make classes, sort of, like
Yep.
depending on which one you wanted. Like by themselves, some of them you wouldn't be able to really do well with just that one character. You can get
Hmm.
good at that character, but they were designed to be more support and have that better assist attack and like be able to kind of counter, like it's like almost like this like rock paper scissors type mentality a little bit.
Hmm.
So it's like I loved like kind of creating different characters. I always try to make my like favorite characters work the best. Like I always make Gambit, Rogue, and I think I threw Mega Man in there because I just thought it was awesome that he was in the game.
Yes.
But then
Yes.
I would
That was
always,
awesome.
but the one character I was always really good at for some reason, I always like somehow just understood that the moveset was Jill Valentine. I
Oh, okay.
don't I
Yeah, she's
don't know
fun to
why.
play.
I don't know why. I love her like calling of dogs and just like
In
calling of
zombies. Yes.
zombies.
Like that's her projectile, right? Or like that's her like her version of the Hadouken is like she just goes ah! And like a zombie comes like walking and it's like, yep, now you have to take care of that.
She
Or
used
like
a
yeah, the
gun.
dog's running.
She used a gun
Um,
too.
yeah, she does. I like you were saying, like I love the fact that yeah, once you pick the character, then you can pick the style of your final moves, right? So it was like aerial or expansion or projectile. So you would try to pick something that would. Um, I mean, I liked using Ryu and Sakura, his sister,
Hmm.
in tandem sometimes with a third whoever, and using their projectile abilities because if you got it like really close enough, you would get Ryu doing his super strong like shooting giant Hadouken, and then you would have Sakura like shooting Hadoukens like at an angle.
Hmm.
So there was a way to do it that like no matter what, even if the person was trying to block it, they would not be able to escape this like wave of you know energy balls like taking up half the screen.
Hmm.
And yeah, my like go to team was Ryu first. The middle person kind of changed a couple times, but I settled actually on Sabretooth,
Yep. Sounds
and
right.
then Cable in the anchor. But I had also put like Juggernaut in there in the middle spot, or sometimes just like what's it, Akuma. But I started getting really good with Spider-Man towards the end, and Venom can be really fun to play with too.
Did you used to
But
do like
they're super
War
fast.
Machine and stuff like that in there too? Like, didn't you have a team with like War Machine and Captain America or something like that? Or
So I would do what I would call like the mega guns. So it would be Cable, he
hmm.
would be first, Iron Man in the middle, and then War Machine as
Okay.
the anchor. And War Machine's not that fun to play. I mean, he's almost identical to Iron Man, but Iron Man still has like better moves, I think. But yeah, like their hyper combo finish was just all three of them shooting every bomb and missile and gun and laser all at once. And it's like if you jumped over it, you'd be okay, but if you're not, you're fucked. And there was no better feeling because your side characters could get hurt if they came out to help you. They could
Hmm.
get hurt.
Hmm.
So if like Sabretooth came out to like slash somebody and he gets hit, like that's his life bar gone down. No better than eliminating one character, but their side character was out at the same time. So that next person who came up has like half the health that they had when they originally came out. Oh, mwah, chef's kiss. That's like my favorite thing is like getting two for the price of one with your hyper combo
That's
finishes.
funny. One thing about that game though, they had some really weird. I know there's like Capcom stuff in there because like half the Capcom characters I didn't know, but like you
Yeah,
had
and they're crazy too.
yeah you had like the mummy dude and then the cactus thing.
Oh, and Anachorus or something was the
Was it
mummy guy,
it was like a
and then
cactus? It was
yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah. I
cactus.
forgot the cactus.
And then you had the one I had a lot of fun with though was like a little red little Robin Hood, like the little what was
Oh,
the
BB Hood.
BB Hood. She was awesome
Yeah,
because she had like machine
yeah. She
guns
had
and
like
stuff.
yeah, she had a machine gun in her little in her little picnic basket. And then like she would call like one of her hyper combo fishes. She would call like these big burly army dudes would be behind her like shooting.
I know
Um,
it's like so funny. They had the girl in the robot mech. Like that was also another one.
oh Ooh,
I liked
yes.
her too. Like I love trying like the weird Capcom
Servbot?
characters. I didn't know who knew who they were. You know, it's like I didn't know any of them.
Did
Yeah,
you like Servbot?
Servbot.
Little tiny
Yeah,
Servbot?
I think you had a girl with
And
a.
you could be Strider too. Strider is kind of fun to play. He's hard to manage, but
Mhm.
Strider, Hiryu from the Strider games. But then you got all the Street Fighter 2 characters. So you got Dhalsim and Chun Li and Guile and Ryu. You know, so you have all of those thrown in there as well. Uh, and Bison too, I think, and Cammy. Like they're in Zangief. Like there's, it's not all Street Fighter characters. It's like a good smattering of them. But I can't remember the. You had Morrigan, I remember. Oh, but you got not only Mega Man, but you got Roll too.
Yep.
And who was that dude? The person with the mech, the girl with the mech. Anyway,
Mimi. I don't remember. I mean, there's just so many characters in that freaking game.
yeah,
But no, I had a blast with it. I knew this was your favorite. Obviously, I said it before the beginning of the
yeah,
show.
yeah.
Like
It's hard
it's hard
to
not to
talk about this game.
expect you to bring this up, but it's a good fighting game. I rebought it though.
Yes.
I wonder though sometimes because I rebought it for the 360 for the on the 360 arcade.
Hmm.
It just didn't feel as fun on the 360. Like there's just something about the Dreamcast controller that just made that game perfect.
I agree.
I don't know what it was. It's just like just the way it felt, like you said,
Look,
the triggers and all that stuff. It's just like it just worked better. It's just so
this
odd.
was like one of our surprise topics on one of those season 1 episodes where it was like, what was your favorite
It was
controller?
our first
And
episode
it's,
actually. It was our very
oh
first
really?
episode.
So this was definitely my favorite controller. It was the smooth action of the Dreamcast. I will say the Switch though, playing the Switch even without the Pro controller, I like that too.
Hmm.
I know it's small, tiny buttons, but I kind of like that aesthetic. But the Dreamcast controller, I feel like in a lot of ways, especially if you didn't have any VMUs plugged into it and it didn't weigh like a brick. Oh, it was fun. It
Yeah,
was
it's
fun.
good
It's a
stuff.
good one. Well, all right, Justin. Why don't you tell us what is your favorite fighting?
Well, this was also on the Dreamcast.
Okay, I thought it might have been Injustice, but you mentioned it already. I knew it wasn't Dragon
You,
Ball because you did that, but
you know, it's funny
uh,
because I wasn't sure like how to play this out because Injustice is really up there on my list. It just we didn't get to three honorable mentions, so I
that's
wanted to
fine.
shout it up a little bit. It's that has an I like that more for the story than anything else. Just to give it a little bit more of a little love. I mean, it's an awesome story. It gets you through
Hmm.
the campaign. I love the change of environments in that game. Like you could just I always like that thing I was trying to find like how you can go from like one place to another when you're in like say like when you're in the
Oh,
asylum, you kick them through
yeah,
the
like how you
door.
can move it. Hmm.
But my favorite though, this is like the game. This is the fighting game that really got me into fighting games. Like this is the one that hooked me, and that is Soul Calibur.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love Soul Calibur. Like I unlocked every
Redo
single
my
thing.
Hayachi. Oh wait, no, that's Tekken. Sorry. Yes, you love everything about that game.
Yes,
Like you're talking about the original one you played on the Dreamcast.
that's right. Yes, on the
Okay.
Dreamcast.
Yeah.
So not Soul Edge, which is the original one. That's the first one
That's
that's
what I
on the
was going to
PlayStation
ask you.
One.
Like, did you play any of that?
A little bit. I used to play. My cousin had it, but I didn't. And I'm trying to fix the OBS as I talk here. There we go.
Oh,
I accidentally minimized something. Um, but
oh, that's
um,
okay.
but anyways, but yeah, I played a little bit of Soul Edge. We liked that game. It was fun. I remember like people like talk like they liked it. My cousins they had it, and I got into it. You know, I thought the characters are cool, but I didn't own it, right? And it was on the PlayStation
Sure.
One, so like it looked a little,
Okay.
it looked different, but it looked cool. It was fun. I like the fact that there were weapons though. That was the one thing about that game.
Mm.
And then when Dreamcast came out, I remember like seeing the game and the videos for it and how amazing it looked and that was just one of those games you got for Dreamcast because you didn't get it for anything else. And I think that was the first game I got for Dreamcast was a Soul Calibur.
Really?
And man, I got hooked. Like I wanted to beat every single story mode because there were like little interesting story snippets for each character. There was some lore, so like you get like a little story thing at the end of like, and you started like tying this whole thing of Soul Calibur and what it was, and it connected to Soul Edge. So you kind of like learned there was like a backstory, and I would like look up like the history of each of like who Nightmare War was. Well, Nightmare used to be Siegfried. Siegfried was looking for the Soul Calibur, so the Soul Calibur turns him into Nightmare, and it's like, but then it's funny because you end up playing Nightmare and fighting Siegfried. It's kind of weird, but like there was this kind of weird lore there, and the reason they were going to fight, the reason they were looking for this, they're all looking for the Soul Calibur. That's the whole point. But like you kind of would travel the world, kind of like Street Fighter, like you had a world map, but they would
Okay.
treat it like you're doing missions and searching for things. So there was always these little cut scenes of just artwork that would like kind of represent like, oh, she decides to go to Europe and fight, and then when she gets there, she sees a pirate that fights her. And, like it's not like anything crazy, but it was like this, like the artwork was really cool for it though. It was like this like kind of black, like kind of manga type drawing. But the other thing that was really got me was that I don't think it was in English, so everything was all subtitled in Japanese, like in this game.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
I like that even more. It was like it just made you like kind of really kind of like man, I just, and then like it was the first fighting game where like I felt like I knew, like it didn't matter how bad or good at the fighting games you were, because like there was just like one thing was it was a grapple effect, and it all the move would change depending on where, because it's 3 dimensional, if you were behind them, in front of them, on the side, or on the other side. So it was the same buttons though. It was kind of like your B down, B, B side, like your B attacks in Smash, but for
Okay.
Soul Calibur.
Okay.
So all you do is you just put the grapple buttons were just like it was like whatever like X in the PlayStation controller. I'm trying to think of Dreamcast, but whatever X and square is. So you would just like push those two together. As long as you're near them and they didn't counter, you would do some sort of like animation move that was really cool. Like it would almost like take them out of the fight, and then they would lost control. So like like
Interesting.
Ivy would just do this like whip thing and just like wrap it around them and then just like knock them on the ground. I mean, they do stuff like that in Injustice now. A lot of the fighting games have those kind of moves now, but that was the first one
Okay.
that really kind of had that, where you can kind of do a very simple grab and do some really awesome stuff, but you could do different things depending on where you're standing. And
I was trying to think if there was a game before that that did that, and I feel like Soul Calibur was the first one that I saw where you could like really like sidestep around a character like that. I can't think of any others like around that time that really did that.
I
Maybe
mean,
maybe Tekken, but not
Soul
even
Calibur,
really.
Soul Edge, you could. It was sort of around, and Virtual
Okay.
Fighter was probably before that as well. But it was
Okay.
slow.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this fast moving game like Soul Calibur
No.
was.
No.
You know, like Soul
No.
Calibur had a very kind of like you could like really move and like charge and like
Hmm.
get some distance, but then like Ivy, that was my main. I loved Ivy, not because of the boot physics, but like I just loved the whip sword that she had. It was so much fun, and she would just, and her laugh really like, I just loved when I won because she had this like ho 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 laugh. Like it was just like, it's just kind of silly, but like I would know that move so well, like all of her moves, because she'd do like moves where she'd like kind of like do like scorpion things, but it wasn't like pulling. She'd like wrap it around their waist and then pull them towards you, or she'd
Okay.
like put it into the ground. It would come up underneath them, like very
I,
scorpion
I
like, you know.
I love those moves, right? They go underground and then like
Yeah.
like come out of the ground right in front of them.
But you'd also have like the whole arena aspect, so like you can kick them off the arena. Like that was how another way you could win. So you had a sense of space too. It wasn't just like later Soul Calibur games, they end up doing walls, and so you can hit them against the wall and things like that. But this is the one that I went through every single story mission. I beat the story for every single one and locked all the characters,
Hmm.
and I just loved it. It was just a lot. I just love the narrator because he wasn't in Japanese for some reason, and I was
Okay,
like
so it's just
he's like he's like, but he does a little like kind of ad lib of when they die. It's like, and then it's like in Ivy, dies in a very sad, sad way. It's like I don't know how he said it, but like he would like it wasn't like oh he loses. It was like and she dies in a very uh, fiery death of evil or something. Like it was just like this weird narration, and it's like and when you turn the game on, it's like the soul still burns. Like, but I don't know. I just and then they would have little dialogue too, like when you started the fight. So you have like actual like connections of people. Like they would say things to each other, which was again back then, that was a kind of a big deal. Like having
Sure.
dialogue, and they have like little conversations that would change depending who they're fighting. Um, man, I if I can ever get my Dreamcast to work again, which I know how to fix, just can't can't seem to time to do it. And that's like probably the first thing I'd put in because I haven't played that
Ooh,
game. I haven't.
even
What?
before Jedi Power Battles, you'd put that in?
Probably.
Those
Yeah.
are big words right there.
There's better.
Which Dreamcast? Like that's a good question. Which Dreamcast game would you play first if you got it
I
fixed?
think the last time I tried to turn it on. I think I put Sonic in because I was trying to show the kids,
Oh,
and like I thought that'd be a fun game for them to watch. But Soul Calibur, it's an awesome fighting
yeah.
game, and the later ones are better because you started adding like the. That's one thing we didn't really talk about was the crazy add-ons. We talked about Smash, but even like with Soul Calibur, like later on they added like Spawn and
Yep.
Link,
Yoda.
Yoda, Darth Vader. Now, like the Mortal Kombat game is kind of turning into Smash Brothers, but for like pulp culture characters, right? You got like Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pulling in like characters from horror, and they don't necessarily have to have been in games before.
no, they're just
Yeah.
movie things. Because like Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat is an American made game, so I get it. It's like it's supposed to. It's trying to reference. It wasn't made in Japan like most other games.
No, like a Japanese game wouldn't have Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw
Yeah,
Massacre.
you got like the Terminator in there. Oh man, it's just RoboCop. I mean, RoboCop's in there. Like,
RoboCop's in there?
yeah,
Oh, yeah. I need
yeah,
to look that up.
yeah.
I
No,
was surprised to hearing the Terminator about RoboCop 2. Hell yeah, I'll look that up.
hmm
But I don't know. I guess I mean that's a great choice. Obviously, still one that's fun to play. I'm sure. Um, what like are they still making Soul Calibur games? Like when was the last one that came out?
6 came out. I don't think last year. I think the year before. It maybe came out
Okay.
last year. Actually, you know what? Because this feels like 2020 has been such a long year. Yes, it did come out last year. Because I
It did
played.
come out last year.
I did play it with our friend that lives out here. Like I did play it with him, and it's just not as good as I
Okay.
used to be. Like it's still Soul Calibur, but like there's just something about that first one because I played it so much. Because like again, like
Mhm.
when we had those systems, it's like you just kind of like stuck with one game and you just played it a lot. And that was the
Yes.
one that it had a lot you could do because it's like the battles took some time. The final boss was ridiculous though. He was just his name was Inferno and it's just like a fiery dude. Like he
Yeah.
just like it wasn't really anything that crazy. But
I
yeah.
will give I will give credit to the first Marvel vs. Capcom, especially playing it in the arcade cabinet. Their final boss was Onslaught, which
Yes,
was
I
a
remember
very
that.
cool thing. The boss in the second one, and my favorite, is just this guy called Abyss, and you
He's
fight
like
him in three forms.
he's like a
And that's it.
fiery demon thing, right? Isn't that what he
He's
was?
like a big like metal dude at first, and then he's a liquid dude, and then he's just a giant red monster in the end that you. He's really just like a giant red background that you fight because it doesn't feel like you're actually fighting something.
I do have a
But
funny story
anyway,
about Soul Calibur though. Like my brother used to watch me play that game,
uh
and I just remember like I was dating some girl and like we're in the car and then he's in the back seat and he's like how he started talking about it and he just like he started saying I really like the guy with the big red stick. I like the big red stick guy, and we just took that the wrong way. Like we were just giggling up front, me and my girlfriend. It's just the way he said it. It's really funny. My brother was like 5 or 6.
like the guy with the big red stick.
It's Killick. His name was
Little
Killick.
little did he know that he really just loved bugs.
That's true. Inside
Thank
joke.
you. Justin, this is pretty fun, man. Going
Yeah.
down, this is like a part of like video game memories that I don't often, think about other than, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Because
But
fighting games
it's
have
been fun,
story
kind of like,
story missions because you just remember little moments, right? It's just little like
yeah.
water cooler talk. It's like, you remember that time I had this fight once where this happened, and then I did this thing. Yay! That's it. Because
Yes.
it's like,
Yes.
literally, what is it? A match is like 2 minutes, right? It's like a 2 minute fight roughly.
Yeah, really.
Maybe
Like
like
you can,
three.
they can be very short lived. And yeah, I played a little bit of Street Fighter 5, and I realized that this is not for me anymore.
Yeah, I
I'm
tried
not into
4.
this.
4, I tried. I got excited for 4 because it looked really cool, and then I got it. I was like, I'm so bad at this game, and I don't like it. Like, I just didn't like it.
It's just, yeah, it feels like, uh, I don't know. It's gone into like this is a job, and like you really need to train in order to play this well. And I'm like, what happened to just good old fashioned fun? But that's fine too. Those people who like to do that, no, not dissing you, but just not for me. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Do you think there'll be another Soul Calibur in the next year or two, or for the next gen here? They probably
Sure.
got one in the works
No,
for
I'm
the.
sure they'll. It's a popular series. I can't imagine they don't make another one. I
I
don't.
really hope that Marvel vs. Capcom gets some kind of,
A resurgence.
yeah, just like a little shot in the arm, some kind of boost. Maybe just even going back to basics, like make the first game again, but make it very fun, or like eliminate as many of the bugs as you can, and I don't know, just keep making the second one over and over, but make it better, a little bit better each time. Don't take away, just add. Just don't take away. But anyways, so Justin, why don't you tell us what's on the schedule for next week? We're kind of fulfilling a promise here, kind of, sort of.
Yeah,
We're
hopefully we don't change our
it's
minds
not
again, right?
no, it's not the same title. We broadened it a little bit.
So last year we were supposed to do favorite
Mm-hmm.
graphic novel, but we decided just to talk about
Rise of
the
Skywalker.
trailer instead because it
Yeah,
just came out of the blue, and we're like, I don't want to talk about this right now.
it wasn't even the movie. It was just the trailer. We're like, screw this. This is our show. We're doing the trailer.
That was a
That's
fun
gonna be our
episode.
It was a fun episode.
But no, we're gonna do favorite comic book movie. We try to broaden it a little bit, so we didn't talk about the
That's
same
right.
graphic novels that we both have read.
Yep.
So
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
talk
broaden
about
it a
favorite
little
comic
bit.
books. Period.
Yes. So
Anything and anything that counts as a comic book and as a graphic novel, all that good stuff is manga you can throw in there if you like to.
sure.
But
Just
yeah,
not
that'll be
just
exciting.
not comic
I'm
strips.
very
We're not talking about
happy
comic
to do that.
strips.
I'm sorry, could you say that again, please?
Comic strips.
Aw, I had a good joke about Beetle Bailey I wanted to make.
No.
No, I've got nothing. I'm sorry. Have you read the Sunday Funnies lately? Lacking in humor. Well, they've always been very unfunny. Who really reads The Wizard of Id? Anyway.
Yes, anyways.
We've chosen our characters. We fought to the death. Now is the time for us to go. So this has been Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
Wait, a new challenger approaches. No, no, and I'm Justin.
Let's do it again.